Okay. Okay. Now, a friend of mine in Louisiana is teaching his grandson, Jackson, whichever he prefers, starting to teach him wood turning. And I use a roughing gouge quite a bit, so he asked me if I would do a short little demonstration of how I use a roughing gouge. It's basically to turn pieces of wood round to a cylinder. The grain runs the length of the wood. Never cross grain. Always runs the length of the wood, and it will sit on the lathe as so. You never use one of these, which is a spindle roughing gouge. Never use it on a bowl. It's not recommended on any face work at all. You can get hurt very badly. Not to mention it will ruin whatever you're working on if you get a catch, because it just will tear it up. They're not made for face work, not made for bowls, strictly for between centers with the grain running the length of the wood. Now I've already put my little indentation for my drive center on here, so I can get it mounted. Now you notice I'm using a wrench to tighten my lathe stuff. That's the way I built the lathe. I built this one myself, so that's the way I do it. Also, wear a face shield. You can get some mighty big chunks of wood coming off of here, or the wood could possibly split off. A rather large chunk could suddenly, just due to grain or possibly a small catch, you could end up with a big corner popping off. So you want your face protected. It's definitely not going to do a thing for your popularity with the girls with a piece of wood sticking out of your forehead. All right, make sure. All right. Now I tend to run pretty fast. Usually if you start out about 600 RPM and take light cuts till you get most of the corners off. When you use this, you make sure it's on the tool rest first. Always want it on the tool rest before you approach the wood with it. Because if it's not on the rest and you go to use it, hear it hitting the tool rest, it can be worse than that once you get down closer to solid wood. Like that. If it should happen, you're not going to get hurt. Not likely. Might knock your wood whopper jawed so it's wobbling around. But it can be pretty scary. Especially if possibly a piece of wood would fly off at the same time. The noise and everything, it can be very unnerving. So yeah, make sure it's on the tool rest, and then you approach the wood carefully. Now, you don't start at the end and work in. You'll end up with splintering pieces of wood. What you do is you start taking the wood off so that you're tapering it off the edge. Now when you get down this far, you want to start going the other way to go off this end. I can already tell piece of contrary grain there. I can feel it. Okay. I started out with 5/16 between the wood and the tool rest. Well, I'm now probably about an inch, a little less than an inch, away from the wood. That's too far. You could accidentally slip a finger down in there. That is not pleasant. I've had it happen several times, and it takes all the skin off and feels very rotten. So once you've got so far, stop, move the tool rest in so that you're closer, less chance of pulling a finger down in there if the tool should slip. And I'm going to turn it up. When you hear that vibrating, that means it's not perfectly round yet. Okay, there's no more flat spots, but you've got these little grooves right here from the round part of the tool. Well, they make another tool called a skew that many people would grab right now and use on here. Now, it takes a while to learn how to use this. And a lot of people get a lot of catches and tears in their wood because you want to practice a lot with a skew before you start using it on something that, you know, you're working on and you don't want tore up. But there is another method to get a pretty good smooth surface on your cylinder. Move it in kind of close there. And, ow, that's sharp. Ooh. On these roughing gouges, I grind mine flat across the end here. That's straight across. Some of them I've seen tilted forward, and I have no idea why, because that's a catch just waiting to happen. Straight up and down is fine. Just get it ground straight up and down. I sharpen mine to 45 degrees. I believe your grandfather does too, Jax. That will leave you with a flat on each side. I've been doing all my cutting with the U part so far. Now, if I want to smooth that out a little better, maybe to draw a design or something on there, I can use that flat side lightly to skim across there and take those little grooves off. And again, I do it I'm running about 1,000 RPM. Tool has to be on the rest before you touch the wood. Push very hard. You just try and skim it. See, you're getting curly stuff off there. Actual shaving. There. All those dippy grooves are gone off there. Now, you can change, like if you want to do, let's say a vase out of this, small bud vase, you can switch to spindle gouges, bowl gouges. You can even use scrapers if you want to get your shape. Now, I tend to use the tool in my hand until it no longer suits the job. And in this case, you can do some profiling, some rounding and stuff with these tools. It actually works pretty well. Again, keep it on the rest, and you just, I need to get my hand behind it when you're cutting like this. Gonna make some really nice little crinkly shavings coming off there. Now I'm going to want to put a tenon on here so I can get it in a chuck to hollow it. Okay. Raise this up. I can use a square end scraper. That's what that circle is I've marked on there. That's 2 1/4 inches. It fits my ripple jaws on one of my chucks. That's a tenon, so I can put it on the chuck. See, that was the catch. I'm not backing it up. I'm not helping the tool. Kind of have to help it out. But you can do actually very nice rounded ends. And you can get almost to the tenon that you're going to put in the chuck. Now for this, it's easy to use a spindle gouge. Okay, you got a nice corner there for the chuck jaws to fit in. This is a shearing cut. I haven't had enough coffee rusty today, so mine's not real steady. It actually will work better if I come from this side, ride the bevel, got off the bevel. Okay, that's the base. Now, whatever shape I happen to want, I can, oops, a little too high for that. See, I didn't have it on the tool rest. Almost pulled over. This tool will do a lot of different cutting jobs. It's like here, I've got it sitting on the tool rest, and I'm cutting right there where my thumb is, that little white spot. That's where I'm cutting the wood, and it will cut very smooth. I mean, actually, you can, that is smooth enough right now, you could start sanding. I mean, that's a really nice surface. But yeah, you can do different designs. You can do, you can actually do some pretty good curves with this. Pushing a little too hard. Did it again. So you see, you get catches, and it will jerk the tool around, but you're not going to get hurt. Plus the mass of this wood, it's not super heavy. You're dealing with a cylindrical piece that doesn't weigh more than a couple pounds. Now, that, not to say that would not hurt if you got smacked in the face. Now, that's why you wear a shield, because it would hurt. I've had pieces of wood hit me, and it can hurt. Definitely wakes you up, makes you pay attention. There. Basic shape for a little dry bud vase. This end would go in my chuck. I can then work on flattening the top and hollowing it out. If you want, you can drill a hole so far in and then add a test tube, plastic test tube. You can get them online. So you could then have some water in it and put a little live flowers in it. But that's using, all this was using just the spindle roughing gouge. And as I said, when you go to use it, tool goes on the rest, your hand is there. I happen to use an overhand grip. I like it better. Your hand is right here to hold it down, not super tight, but hold it down on the tool rest. Then you approach the wood and gently start cutting, and you can take bigger bites, so to speak, once you've gotten it more round and knock those sharp corners off. But that's basically how you use one. Like I said, this is the only wood you use it on. Do not use it on bowls. Absolutely do not use it on bowls. I don't want to read about any of you getting your eye put out or your fingers broke. So that's the spindle roughing gouge. You can always recognize one because they really, really deep flute on them. And this is all they're for. So give it a try. Do some practice stuff. I don't recommend pine. Get some green maple. Green maple, it cuts beautifully. You have fun. You get to throw shavings everywhere. And you can learn the cuts much safer on it. Any questions? Just give me a holler on my YouTube. I'll be around.